And just a reminder to make sure that your mic's turned on when you're speaking for the live stream so they can hear us online.
That was for me. Thank you. Do you have to do the Pledge of Allegiance again? Okay. Well, I did call the meeting to open here. Can we do roll call, please?
Mr. Bassett. Here. Mr. Fensky.
Here.
Mr. Richards.
Here.
Mr. Huck.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, first order of business is elections of officers. I know there was a lot of campaigning going on this year. First, we'll move to election of president, and we'll go through each of these, and we'll just look for a nomination in a second, and then we'll roll call, correct? Okay, so do we have a nomination on president? Do you want to do it, Rich?
You're so good at it. Yeah.
I'll accept it if it comes in. All right.
I'll nominate Steve Richards for president.
All right, do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, roll call. Or do we-
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes. Can I vote for myself?
You can. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks. Second election here, we will go to vice president, and I'd make a nomination for Rich if he's interested in that role again.
I'll second that
Okay.
nomination for Rich Bassett.
All right, let's take roll call to nominate
Yeah.
Rich Bassett.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Thank you.
So next I'll make a motion to appoint secretaries Megan Vukovic. I knew I was going to say it wrong. Vukovic.
Correct.
That better?
Yep.
For the live stream, folks. Ross Hillary, Jonah Butler, is it Bree or Bray?
Bree.
Bree King, Tyler Folk, and Sydney Granlund. Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, let's take roll call.
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next, I'll make a nomination to appoint Kay Prang and Kelly Luark for recording secretaries. Do you have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Okay, next, I'll make a motion to, well, actually, I gotta think about this one. No, I'm kidding. Well, I want to make a motion to designate BZA legal counsel as Krieg DeVault. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Thank you.
And last, I'll make a motion to designate for legal publications the Noblesville Times and the Current.
Second.
Mr. Bassett.
Yes.
Mr. Fensky.
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Mr. Huck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Next, we will, if anyone has any discussion or questions on the minutes from the previous meeting, which was 12/16/21. No one can remember that long ago, so I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Do you have a second?
Just real quick, Kay, can you confirm we were all in attendance at that meeting?
I believe that
We were, because I think we
Yes.
were joking that
Yeah.
you were kind of coming in. Remember you were like running late?
Yeah, very possible.
Because we were like, Rich is never late. I remember. We were
All
joking.
4 members were present.
Yeah. Do you have a second?
Second.
Can we just do all in favor? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we'll open the public hearing, and we will hear VA 22-6 if the petitioner would like to come up. Thanks for your patience.
Good evening. My name is Justin Collins. My wife and I own the property at 12301 Florida Road, and I am here today to request a land use variance to replace my accessory building before my primary residence is built. The biggest factor in the delay in being able to build my primary residence revolves around trying to build a bridge over Thorpe Creek so I can build my primary residence on the west side. My wife and I purchased the land in June of 2020. We engaged Y Engineers in September of that year. They began the application process. We got the Army Corps of Engineers approval, IDNR's approval. We had our full construction bid set for our primary residence done and bid out in May of 2021. We got SWIP approval and IDIM approval, and at that point, Y Engineers told me, hey, you can start site work to put the bridge in, and I was all lined up to begin construction of my primary residence in August of 2021. Fishers heard about just everything we were doing, contacted Y Engineers and said, hey, we actually have an ordinance with Hamilton County that any unincorporated land within 2 miles of our city limits, we actually have to approve grading permits, just basically everything that I was trying to do. So I said, okay, but they had additional requirements with FEMA for me to get a clomer. Well, that added about 10 to 12 months of time. I just got my clomar approved back in, I believe it was March. Fishers was okay with everything that we were doing then, and the last thing I needed was Hamilton County to approve the site plan. I just received that approval last week, and so I began my erosion control. I have all my silt fencing out there, and I would like to say I'm a little bit further on my way on site work, but that is not true because of all the rain. I'm having a hard time getting a contractor to commit to a date, but I've been assured that the work will be done in the next 75 days so I can begin construction on my primary residence in August or September of this year. My current barn, which is fairly unusable and dangerous, I have 4 kids under the age of 10 and I don't allow any of them in it. It's about 81 feet away from the road. I plan to put the new accessory building about 10 foot further back from the road than the current barn that's already there. The dimensions of the current barn and the new accessory building are very similar. It's about 24 by 32 within a 10-foot deep porch. This is the grading plan. I included it in my uploaded documents. I'm not sure how important this is to you guys, but it does show the drive coming off Florida Road, and it bends. It goes over Thorpe Creek, which shows the bridge on the west-hand side. I have FBI buildings. They designed the pole barn, and they will also construct it. They are a very reputable company out of Remington, have been around for 70 years, and they do very quality work. It would have a 2-car garage, which would be on the west side, so it would not be visible from the road. The porch would be on the north side, which would be slightly visible from the road. The east elevation would be the main facade facing Florida Road, and then the south elevation faces a runoff creek, and then there's a large hill that goes up to a cemetery. So I didn't add any windows on that side for functionality purposes for me, for shelving and whatnot, but I don't think it'll be visible for really anybody. This is a little bit just an additional rendering from FBI to kind of show the layout and what it looks like. Again, my hope was that I would be further along in my primary residence process, but I'm just there's a lot of conditions to meet to put a bridge over a large creek in a floodplain, apparently. So it is taking significantly longer than I anticipated. I think that's you, Tyler. Do you have any questions for me now, or do I wait till the end?
Real quick, did you want staff to present?
It's been 6 months.
That's all right.
We've got this. I'm pretty sure we got it. Rodney would like send me a telepathic. No, I'm say out loud.
All right, well, good evening. My name is Tyler Folk. I am a city planner here at the City of Fishers, and I'm here to give the staff report on VA 22-6, the Collins accessory structure variance. Petitioner is Justin Collins, who you just heard from. The location is 12301 Florida Road in Fishers. The site is currently zoned R2, and the existing conditions on the lot is vacant. Justin is seeking a variance from the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 6.2.1, the accessory structure standards. The Unified Development Ordinance does not allow accessory structures or buildings to be established on a lot prior to the establishment of the primary building or use. This variance request is to allow an accessory structure to be constructed on a lot before the primary building is constructed. Here's the location of the lot in question. Out on the east side of town, it's off Florida Road. You can see Thorpe Creek running through the property. Here is a zoomed in view with satellite imagery of the current conditions on the lot. As you see, there's the existing barn that Justin is planning on demolishing to replace with his proposed new building. As you can see, there's also Thorpe Creek running through nearby as well. Here's an image from Google Street View. This imagery is from September 2013. However, it does show the existing barn, and that is the approximate location that Justin will be replacing with his proposed barn. As you can see, it is sort of in disrepair. I have not received any public comments concerning this variance request. Staff has no recommendation for the board. Should the board approve this petition, staff recommends it is done with the following conditions. 1, that the variance is recorded on the property with the county. 2, that the accessory structure permit for this planned accessory structure will not be issued until the homeowner applies for annexation. And 3, the primary structure will be constructed and have a completed certificate of occupancy within 30 months of this approval, which would be November 1st of 2024. Any questions?
Can you put the last slide back up?
Yeah.
We're gonna want that to stay up.
Is the annexation request, that seems to be a little different. I feel like previous ones were always a non-remonstrance. This is a little unique, or?
So when a property doesn't meet annexation requirements, meaning that it's not 1/8 contiguous, then we ask for the non-remonstration agreement. However, when it is 1/8 contiguous to city limits, then we require annexation.
Did we see this property up here for a variance a couple years ago or something? Is there?
Correct, yep, and it was for a fence, I believe.
I requested a variance for a decorative fence. I have 7-foot stone columns, a 2-foot knee wall, and then a aluminum fence on top of that. And so I agreed to non-demonstrate against annexation at that time. I also built it further back from the road in case you guys ever would like it to.
Was there a path or dedication of easement for future path or anything like that along that frontage at that time?
I don't believe there was,
Okay.
no.
Okay. And that variance is satisfied with everything that's done out there? There's nothing interesting or unique, or?
Correct.
Okay.
You else have any questions?
And I will say for the third condition here, within 30 months, Tyler did confirm with the petitioner that that meets the construction timeline. And we just added that in there. I don't know if you guys remember a while ago, we heard a similar variance request about a former variance that didn't have a similar condition where we had permitted an accessory structure before a primary without any sort of condition, and it caused some issues. And so we would recommend that we do place that condition. If for some reason that certificate of occupancy is not issued within 30 months, then the petitioner would have to come back before you all to request kind of an extension to that condition.
That was a question I was gonna ask the petitioner. You're okay with these three? Do you have any questions or problems with those?
I do not, you know, my builder assures me it's a 20 to 22-month build, which probably means 24 to 26 months. So I believe that's very reasonable. And so, yeah, I'm completely fine with this.
Yeah, mostly just want to make sure on the annexation piece, because
I'm gonna want efficient utilities, so, and all the other things that are being included in the city, so, I mean, at some point it's gonna happen.
yeah, I can't foresee, obviously not commenting, like guessing on the future, but if you're back in here in 30 months and you haven't started your house, that's gonna be different than if you're like, we're trimming it out and it's almost done, so,
Prevent delays, supply chain issues.
yeah. I wouldn't worry as much about that one. I'm good if you guys don't have any other questions. I'll make a motion to provide favorable recommendation.
In this case, it would be
Is it
just
approval?
approval.
Okay. I'd 50% chance. Make a motion to approve this request, VA 22-6, with the 3 stipulations as outlined on the slide. You have a second?
A second.
Okay, let's vote.
Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Fenske?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
And Mr. Huck?
Yes. Cool. Congratulations.
You're
Good
probably
luck.
an expert on bureaucratic red tape with that slide of all the approvals you had to get. That's impressive.
It has been a very long, I got the land for a very good price, and everyone kept saying, the bridge is gonna cost an arm and a leg. I was like, how hard can it be, you know, and, everybody was right.
Whoever sold that to you, it was a fair price.
Yeah, if you ever drive by the property, there's a 55-foot by 12-foot steel, freespan bridge sitting on the property that they'll bring a crane in once they get the footers and buckets with the site work, and they'll just drop it in, and then they'll pour the concrete slab on top of it. It's pretty wild. So,
Huh. Well, good luck with it. Do we have any old business, new business, it looks like?
Yes, so we do have something under new business. So before you tonight is an update to the Fall Creek Board of Zoning Appeals rules and procedures. So the last time these were updated was about 2016, and so we thought that this might be a good time to take another look at that. I did highlight here in this memo a few things worth mentioning before you tonight. So one is our public noticing process. So in the past, this has been on the responsibility of the petitioner to provide public noticing to the surrounding property owners. However, staff has found that it is actually more efficient for us to go ahead and take on that responsibility. And so we now will be handling all public noticing for our variance requests, and the cost of public noticing has just been absorbed into the permitting cost. So this has been, every petitioner we've worked with is very much in favor of this change. They'd rather pay the extra $100 and have staff take care of this for them. So that has been very positive. The second is the electronic participation policy. So with COVID, there was an emergency order issued by the governor for us to participate electronically. Since that emergency order has ended, the state has now adopted a long-term electronic participation policy for local boards and commissions. And so we've included that in the rules and procedures update. So this does allow each of you to participate electronically in these meetings if you choose. There are certain stipulations with that. such as you can't participate more than 50% of the annual meetings, and I believe you can only participate 2 in a row. So at once every third meeting, you would have to be in person. So that is an option to you guys moving forward. And then the rest of the updates are just really minor based on procedural changes throughout the years, and these were looked over by legal counsel. And so I would recommend that you suspend the rules and adopt these revisions at tonight's meeting on first reading.
Do we vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. So you said, is there a way, do we have to label this just rules and procedures update that will vote favorably?
Yep, so I would say you need to make a vote to suspend the rules and adopt on first reading.
Okay. So I would make a motion to suspend the rules and adopt from the first reading for the rules and procedures here. Do we have a second? Anyone?
Second?
Okay. Guess we didn't go up for discussion, but
You ready?
did anyone have discussion? I heard these in the plan commission, so I was already aware of it, so.
I think it makes sense.
Okay, cool. Let's
Ready?
take roll, yes.
All right. Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Fenske?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
And Mr. Huck?
Yes.
The last 2 plan commission meetings have been like 9 minutes, so I'm just on this like, I'm trying to get it going.
You're doing great.
You say 9?
9, or 19, 9? 19?
No, I think it was 9, yeah.
It's been 9, because,
Yeah.
yeah, there were 2 of them. Do staff communication?
The only thing I'll mention, and just before this board, just because you guys do meet so infrequently, is that City Hall is planned to be torn down sometime in the coming months. We don't have a finalized schedule on that yet, but if you guys don't meet here, let's say before August, then the next meeting will likely be in a new location, but that is still to be determined. So when Kay sends out the meeting invite, just take a close look at it. We'll be sure to highlight it as well, but it could be in a new location.
Currently, we don't have anything for June, right?
There's nothing planned. Do we have any items planned for June as of right now? Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. Any other, we need to sign something? Do we need to sign that before we leave?
No, what I will do is ask for your signatures on the oath of office. There are 2 oaths of office that have expired, so I do need those. But the findings of fact for this item, I'll send out tomorrow through DocuSign.
Okay. All right. I'll adjourn the meeting. Joel had a question. He said, if the virtual participation is you have to be at 50% of meetings, does that mean like halfway through one of the meetings that we have every year we can leave? Does that count?
I think you need to be here for the full meeting,
Okay,
but 50% of the meetings.
okay.
And
But-
there's, sorry,
No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, there's a requirement that 50% of the board be in person for every meeting, so at least some will have to be here and present for each meeting.
Kind of making a joke out of it, but based on what happened in 2020, I guess anything could happen.
What if we have two or 3 meetings, and you've done 2 remote, and then you don't get enough to make that 50% close? I mean, you're off board with that, whatever.
Potentially, yes.
Disciplinary action. I feel like with our limited board, we've been good about like moving the meeting if, you know.
Yeah, you guys are a unique case because, I mean, typically we meet every month with our regular boards and commissions, but, I mean, this could be your guys' only meeting this year.
You guys didn't know this, but like we meet every month and we're like, we have this special group. We talk about things at 4-Day Ray.